and do is we're going to start scoring our glass. I'm going to go ahead and start scoring the gray glass here. So this other glass, I'm going to just go ahead and set aside for now. What we have here is we have running pliers, breaker grozers, breaking pliers. We have our brush because it's always good to keep a clean work area. And we have this $3 scorer here. It's a fairly cheap scorer, but this is what we're going to start out with. And this is cutting oil. You want to dip your score in cutting oil. I put a little piece of cloth down there to hold the oil, and that way there's not so much clanking either. So when we score glass, we want to score glass from end to end. Okay, we don't want to score at angles, and we don't want to score over score lines. Now, I want to stand when I'm scoring. I want to keep my elbow tucked in. I don't want it out flared out. I want to keep it tucked in so it's a nice straight score. I also want to push out when I score. Some people actually can score towards themselves, but that's up to you. I would advise against it right now, and I don't want to see side to side scoring either. Not right now. When you become an expert, score however you want. Now, the first thing we do is we're going to try to save as much glass as possible. So I'm going to score this larger piece of glass off. So I get as close as I can to the edge. I don't have to get right to the edge. I can give it a little, a centimeter or so away from the edge. And then I score right next to that paper. Now, if you want to, if you guys can see that score there, okay, you can use your hands to break the glass. Now, I'll put this back in here. I've got my thumbs next to each side of that score line, and I've got my forefingers on each side of that score line. All right? So when I break up. I'm just kind of rolling as I break. Now, I can go ahead and save this in case I need it for later. Keep a clean work area. Sometimes you get little flakes of glass, and if you get little flakes of glass and push the glass on it and try to score it, it might score in areas you don't want to score it in or break in. All right, now I'm going to go ahead with my next cut here. Again, get as close to the template as possible. Push down. You need to get over the glass when you do this. Again, you can hear the score line. You should be able to see that. I'm going to use my running pliers on this one. Now, the running pliers have a line on one side, but not on the other. So the running pliers, you put that line on top of the score. Now, push your running pliers as far up or about halfway, whatever is more convenient. Okay, you don't want to go more than halfway, but get that right on that line. Okay, now, and then you hold it as far back as you can and break. Okay, all right, score again from one edge to the other. We score, break, score, break, score, break. We can go ahead and use our running pliers again, going up about halfway. See, if I go all the way, I'm off the edge. We want to keep glass outside of the edge of that tool, otherwise it'll ruin that rubber tip. We don't want to do that. Go ahead and break. Now on these smaller ones, the glass is on the inside of the rubber tip, so let's go ahead and use our breaking pliers here. Our breaking pliers have two straight edges. Okay? Now I'm going to put that on the end of the glass. It doesn't matter which end. And then with my other hand, again, I'm going to roll up. Now let's say I didn't get a good score. Oh man, I'm a little far out. I'm going to go ahead and use my breaker grozers. The breaking side is the flat side. The grozing side is the curved side. We're going to use the flat side up. Put it again next to that score line. You can see that. I don't have a director. And then, again, roll it up. You want to hold it next to the score line, not out here, because if I held it out here, I could break and I could essentially stab myself. And you don't want to do that. Now I've got this little extra material here. I could try to score it, or I could use the grozing side. Now the grozing side, and this is going to get messy, this is part of the reason we wear shoes, is going to take little bites, I don't know if you can see this or not, little bites out of the glass. And you want to groze as close to the template as possible. That's called grozing. And so now I'm there. And that'll be good enough for grinding. But we've got this mess now, so I'll go ahead and pause. I'll sweep this up and we'll continue. Last thing to mention is rule of thumb. If the glass is smaller than your thumb, as big or smaller than your thumb, you can go ahead and put that in the recycling blue cans in the front of the room. If it's bigger than your thumb, go ahead and put it in the back of the class with the scrap glass.